I can't be the only one who feels a strong sense of déjà vu while playing Poppy Playtime. When Mob released its horror game, I could swear I had seen similar visuals elsewhere. Then came the lore, and it made me want to bang my head into the wall. From the haunting setting to fuzzy animals being the bedrock of the story, Poppy Playtime was too similar to Five Nights at Freddy's. Scott Cawthorn's hit game has managed to drop jaws, induce fear, and corrupt mascots with its decade-long history and lore. So how does Poppy Playtime compare to a game so old and legendary? Are they even similar at all? Five Nights at Freddy's was originally released as a game in 2014 and later developed into a full-blown franchise with 20 video games, which include 10 main games, 6 spin-offs, 4 troll games, a total of 48 books, and a blockbuster movie. Safe to say, it's a proper universe. And then came Poppy Playtime. So far, Mob's horror game has 3 chapters and a spin-off called Project Playtime. Before we get into our comparison, please leave a like on this video and share it with a friend. We have tons of similar content around Poppy Playtime and FNAF. Both games have a new installment on the horizon, so you may want to get yourself up to speed. To stay up to date, keep your notifications on, and without further ado, let's get into it! Right off the bat, when you play Poppy Playtime, you get a whiff of nostalgia despite playing it for the first time. Why? It's the setting! Poppy Playtime shares many features and traits with FNAF, but the setting is one thing that stands out. The game takes place inside the haunted hallways of Playtime Co., which are quite similar to Sister Location. The tunnels remind you of Huggy Wuggy Chase, and one can never look at sewers again without thinking of Mommy Longlegs vomit-inducing death to a grinder. The checkered floors in both the horror games set a tone of familiarity, even though Poppy Playtime uses multicolored tiles and FNAF has a distinctive black and white floor. Mob recently unveiled Playcare, which has themes similar to FNAF 4. The bedroom setting in FNAF 4 reminds you of abandoned bunkers in Playcare as Catnap watches over his sleeping friends. It's safe to say that the similarities are becoming more notable with each new installment. While the setting surely tricks your brain into thinking you're in the same game, it's not the biggest similarity between the two. It's the Antagonists. Both games have villains centered on toys and mascots, but that could totally be a coincidence. But Mob releasing Smiling Critters makes you do a double take. Poppy Playtime always had toy antagonists, each with its unique personality, appearance, and backstory. But Smiling Critters are like a team of 8, all similar, sharing the same backstory, quite like the animatronics. FNAF has the same few main antagonists that reappear in games in new getups. For example, Glam Rock animatronics, Nightmare animatronics, Funtime animatronics, and more. Animatronics are divided into these groups which share similar exteriors and clothing. You'd see classic animatronics like Chica, Freddy, and Bonnie reappear in matching outfits and themes based on the installment. This makes you wonder if Mob drew inspiration from animatronics to create the Smiling Critters, the 8 plushies in similar zippers. If all Smiling Critters continue to reappear in future Poppy Playtime chapters, then the idea is 100% a ripoff. It's also pretty shady that Dog Day and Catnap wear sun and moon necklaces. From the Poppy Playtime in the latest gameplay trailer for FNAF, we see that Moon and Sun animatronic is also making a return. It's a small detail, but worth mentioning here. We know from the Poppy Playtime lore that Dog Day and Catnap are best friends in Playcare. Dog Day is the only smiling critter with a lovey-dovey picture with our main antagonist. Where Dog Day has a bright sun hanging around his neck, Catnap has the opposite moon. Coincidentally, Sun and Moon animatronic share the same traits. The daycare attendant, Sun and Moon, has a split personality, but each personality would remind you of Dog Day and Catnap. When Sun is cheery and assisting the children with art, it's Dog Day. But as night falls, he takes the shape of a daycare attendant, hell-bent on putting you to bed, much like Catnap.
Naughty boy. Naughty boy. It's past your bedtime. You must be punished. Nighty-night.
As of now, we don't know the role of Smiling Critters, but we know that Catnap is responsible for putting kids to sleep. Antagonists do share some parallels, but other main characters in the two games are also quite similar. What if you read a story about two partners who founded a company that lured children in with toys and mascots, but was eventually shut down due to shady activities? Of course, you'd think FNAF or Poppy Playtime. The lore of both games is different, but the foundation is the same. Child manipulation, murder, toys, and nostalgia are the bedrock of both games. What started as a small experiment turns into a giant business idea to feed the ego of the company owners. Playtime Co. was initially created to spread joy among the children, but was later corrupted by the Bigger Bodies initiative. Mob hasn't confirmed this, but theories suggest that the puzzles and toy attractions were used to lure in orphans who would later become test subjects. They were stuffed into popular toys. The biggest proof for this theory so far is Catnap, with ample drawings and clues pointing towards him being an eccentric orphan who was later turned into a purple toy. FNAF follows the same theme. William Afton used his Bonnie costume to lure children into Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and later murdered them and turned them into mascots. These mascots would later become sentient AI and roam the hallways of Pizzaplex. All of this has been teased in books and canon events, painting Afton as a deranged character behind the evil creations. The base lore is similar, and while it's tough to say what drove both characters to evil, the death of a child was the beginning of their villain arc. Elliot may not be an established villain in Poppy Playtime, but we have a guess that in this comparison, Elliot's partner, Harley, is William Afton of Poppy Playtime. In Elliot Ludwig's case, it was his deteriorating mental state over the loss of a daughter that led him to experiment on a rat, which set the base for the Bigger Bodies initiative. In William Afton's case, it was the same. The mourning father loses sight of right and wrong when he discovers that animatronics can possess a child's soul. But it's not that simple. Our claims are still up in the air as both stories share another similarity. In FNAF, William Afton has Henry, who stands in his way as a barricade, or so the lore says. In Poppy Playtime, clues point towards Harley Sawyer as the villain. Both main characters had an archenemy or a partner who worked alongside them but had different ideas for the project. Afton's partner is theorized to be the good guy, and Ludwig's partner at Playtime Co. is a rumored antagonist. The baseline is that both games have main characters who don't get along with their partners, leaving players questioning who to side with. This is, so far, the most significant similarity that makes you think that FNAF and Poppy Playtime are cut out of the same cloth. While these are surely interesting comparisons, what keeps me up at night is the Enner prototype paradox. The two mysteries are yet to be resolved, but they are so similar it seems almost intentional. If you play FNAF, you probably already know about Enner, the unknown mystery, which is an amalgamation of all Funtime animatronics. The why of it all is still up in the air, but the main theory is that Funtimes are using his body to escape the Fazbear fanatics by using Michael as their flesh suit. But the reasoning is secondary here. What's crucial here is that an eerily similar figure exists in the Poppy Playtime franchise as well. Enter the Prototype. We have discussed and analyzed Prototype multiple times before on this channel. Still, if you live under a rock, Prototype is a gray character who's currently the top candidate to be a potential good guy. So far, we know that Prototype has been trying to attach dead toys to his body. We don't know the reason, but we established a solid theory that says he's trying to keep the dead toys alive. The Prototype doesn't have to eat, so as long as toys with the digestive system are attached to him, they may live. But it's merely a theory and should be taken with a grain of salt. In both cases, our mysterious entities house the so-called antagonists. I think it's pretty shady that both games have characters that are basically attaching playthings to themselves. Moving on to the toys, does it seem weird to anyone that Poppy and Scrap Baby basically look the same? Scrap Baby is a withered version of Poppy. With their red hair, googly eyes, and pigtails, facial features aren't the only thing they share. Elizabeth Afton, also known as Circus Baby, was the daughter of William Afton, the character at the center of it all. Poppy also happens to be the daughter of the founder of Playtime Co., at least according to the lore. With the withered look of Scrap Baby, it's almost as if she's the crazier version of Poppy, the prim and proper doll who eventually goes nuts. Hear us out. All we know about Elliot Ludwig is that he underwent a life-changing accident that compelled him to spread happiness among children and test poppy flowers on living beings to achieve his goal. The lore suggests that his daughter's death is the incident in question. We also know that William Afton's daughter's death was a pure accident.
I know it was an accident.
Elizabeth was told to stay away from the animatronics, but her curiosity got to her. Since we still don't know how Poppy died in real, could it be possible that both characters are canonically connected in some way? Copy or not, it could make a great crossover. Now, we are not making any big claims here, but it all seems a bit too accurate to be coincidental. A recent theme in Poppy Playtime also looks similar to the gas theory in FNAF. So far, FNAF 4 remains unsolved, but many believe that books may have solved the mystery behind the constant replay of the same nightmare. Tales from the Pizzaplex number 8 suggests that Rory in FNAF 4 relived the same nightmares for years, and whatever happened within his bedroom wasn't really a reality, but a never-ending nightmare. The Dittophobia book states that the nightmare animatronics are black endos with gas that induce nightmares in children. William was using the gas to test their fear level in kids, trapping them in the nightmare cycle for years. Now, we can't say if books are canon to games, but if they are, we have a similar theme going in Poppy Playtime. Smiling critters each come with their own pleasant scent that children can spray in their surroundings by pulling their tails. But Catnap was a faulty product. The latest Catnap recall clip confirms that the plushie sprays out a non-lethal gas that induces violent nightmares in children. His red gas is so lethal, you need a mask to prevent the maniac side effects. For this reason, the game has a gas mask at the center of it. You need to stay sane throughout the game. At this point, it can't really be a coincidence that both games have nightmare-inducing gas by a character who already shares traits with an existing animatronic. It's safe to say that Poppy Playtime and FNAF have a lot in common. Would we say Poppy Playtime is a ripoff? Maybe in 2021 when Poppy Playtime was a new game. As you keep playing the game and dive into the lore, you realize many things, and among those, one is that Poppy Playtime is unique in its own right. Even if Poppy Playtime is a copy of FNAF, it's undoubtedly a copy well done. FNAF has a lore that expands over a decade, so it would take Mob a long time to match its greatness, but Poppy Playtime is on the right track. The lore is complex, spread out, but still easier to understand. Now, mystery and confusion could be tempting, but not to the extent where you want to pull your hair out. Poppy Playtime is intricate, yet diving into it provides a sense of satisfaction as you can genuinely make sense of its complexities. Mob has made it easier for fans to have access to the backstory through ARG, but digging out those clues is still a chore. FNAF, on the other hand, has a lore that exists outside of the game and has theories as its bedrock. Some of them are still theories almost a decade later. I don't want to take sides, but I can't hate Poppy Playtime just because it shares similarities with FNAF. What matters is that Mob has made a good game with an immersive backstory, and I think most people would agree that Poppy Playtime's character design is just more spooky and clean. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe to our channel for similar content. Do leave a comment and let us know why you think Poppy Playtime is a FNAF ripoff and which game is your favorite out of the two.